is Rob Stone from Fox Sports.
Hey guys, this is Cole Liker.
Hi, I'm Neil Collins.
You are listening to the Unused Substitute.
The Unused Substitute.
And you're listening to the Unused Substitutes.
Get off the bench!
Hey there, Little Red Riding Hood, I got a problem and it's complicated. Going through text and I just can't ignore the signs. There now it's so loud it hurts. Hear me, fella, hear me, how when the full moon
On the throw, ball's gonna bounce down, it's free in the box.
Bicycle kick! Goal! Rowdies! What a play! What a shot! And it's 1-0 Rowdies!
What is going on, everybody? It's almost 10 o'clock on Wednesday night. This is the 200th episode of the Unused Substitutes, your green and gold gospel, your Rowdies Talk Radio. We are live on Radio St. Pete, on location at the Shamrock Pub in Sarasota with a lot of very happy Rowdies fans right now, part of Beautiful Game Network, and sponsored by Roughneck Scarves. My name is Matt, and next to me for the 200th time, and the last for the foreseeable future, is a man who, as far as I know, despite living in Pasco, has never put on a bunny suit to break up a fight. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, Dan Endinino. Dan, how you doing tonight? Give it up for Dan, guys. It's episode 200. It's his last. Let him hear it.
That's a little weird. A little weird. But cheers, you jerks.
Just a heads up, Dan, it looks like we are still having internet difficulties over here.
Oh, wow. I mean, that might be just butt. Or, I mean, can you people hear us? Anybody?
If you're listening online right now on Radio
Dropped
St.
off.
Pete.
We should be back.
Okay, now it's like we're
Somebody's
back. Still
breathing
having
on
some
me.
internet burping going on over here.
That's not going to bother me.
All right, are we recording, though?
It should be.
Because it would help to make sure we have this later to put out as an episode, too. It would really suck to make you have to come back and do your last episode again.
Not live. Yeah, we're back.
But
we're
it would
good.
be extremely on brand. Now, hold on. Ryan Sudol is in the house. That could be explaining technical problems. He just left. No, he's back in. See, now the Wi-Fi is going to go out again. Go back to Tropicana Field, Ryan. All right, we've got a lot to talk about tonight, including the game that just ended. Rowdies come back from a 1-0 deficit at halftime to win 4-1. Dan, I know it's kind of hard because we were yelling and screaming and eating and drinking and stuff like that. But quick reaction: what was your good, bad, ugly for the match?
I mean, we responded well. It was fun. Created some chances. I don't want to say what that looked like. We have numbers. Somebody's asking me if we want cream.
What? Why am I
cream?
0 and you're 2?
I mean, that's what I act.
Also cream.
Okay, fair.
There's cream if anybody wants cream.
If anyone would like our cream.
Yeah, we're giving out free cream.
So we should explain this. Shout out, by the way, to the Skyway Casuals for providing a 200th episode celebration cake. Hashtag Dan Ran.
Yeah, we're still running.
All right, so back to the match. Your thoughts again?
Exciting, fun, responded well. I believe, people were yelling at me on Twitter because I said this is how we should treat inferior teams. And there was 4 MLS players on that squad, and we still managed to, make our point.
Yeah, you had Andrew Carlton. You had Pogba's brother, right? Was out there? Who else was out there?
I don't know. I didn't even realize that. I mean, I knew 1 or 2 names, but they're not. I don't know, man.
It's always fun to go on location, but there's so many distractions.
Yeah, like the beer that keeps appearing.
All right, so we got some firsts tonight. You had Jordan Doherty making his pro debut. Congratulations, Jordan. played into the second half before coming off as a sub. David Najim with his first start of the season. Had a couple injuries tonight. Sean Barry, Jan Ekra were out. Andrew Hopino was suspended.
Antoine. He's French, man.
I can't even blame it on the beer. I'm drinking very light, low alcohol beer, unlike Dan, who might not make it through the end of the show. But he's out for suspended. So you had 3 changes to the lineup. You had a slightly different bit of a formation. What do you think when you saw the way the team was going to line up?
I'm not surprised. I mean, it was still a 3-5-2 variation. We played with the 3 at the back, so it wasn't too different. I liked what I saw. We've expected Naj to start there. Well, I've kind of hoped he would start soon, and we saw why he deserves that spot as well. I mean, Tejada up front, and you got to remember also, like, you have a suspension, you have 2 apparent injuries. We have a game on Saturday, and so it's just rotation and everything here. So the lineup was bound to be a little wonky.
You had Poku make the bench for the first time. Didn't get in the game. We thought he had a good chance getting in tonight, but didn't quite make it out there. We did have first goals for Tejada, although I think that one went – was that the one that went down as the own goal?
Naj is second.
Oh, Naj is okay. We went down as the own goal. So Tejada gets his first goal, and kind of the goal we've been expecting him to score, a little poach in front of the net. Brandon Allen playing the role of William Tecumseh Sherman, putting an end to the game, burning Atlanta down at the very end, killing off their hopes of any comeback. I mean, the Rowdies just lined up to give you some going away gifts tonight, Dan.
Yeah, it looked a little shaky at first, and then they did good stuff. It was sorry, I'm watching the Minnesota-LA game, or the last 5 minutes or something. It was a great response. The fact that we had 2 first-time Rowdies goal scorers. Tally and Naj doing his stuff, and then Leo got the first, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Leo with the first goal.
Yeah. I mean, Leo was on fire tonight. I think, we're going to transition to that in a minute, but man of the match would have to be, Leo Fernandez for me.
See, I'm going to, as far as contributions, yeah, but I kind of am leaning towards giving it to McCarthy just for that little taunting of the Atlanta player coming back before he picked up the ball. McCarthy's just a guy that I do not want to get too upset.
He's Philadelphia through and through.
Yeah, he is. So is it always sunny in John McCarthy?
I don't know how to answer that.
All right. We're not going to spend as much time tonight on the game as we usually do because it's happening right now, or just happened right now. We'd have to go back and take a look at it. And there is some other business we're going to try and get through tonight.
We don't have any other business. We're good.
Are you going DiCaprio on me here?
No.
You smacking that mic on your head? Are you staying?
No.
Are you
But
teasing me?
we don't need to do anything about it. Nothing. No deal needs to be made.
We're not saying anything tonight. I thought we were announcing.
No, we can. I mean, you can do that.
Oh, okay. All right, real quick, I'm going to go through the rest of the Eastern Conference games. If I'm correct with tonight's result, Rowdies are back on top in the Eastern Conference with 15 points. St. Louis with 14, Red Bull 2 with 13, Indy with 12, North Carolina with 11, Charleston with 11, Nashville with 10, Atlanta with 10, Bethlehem with 10, and Louisville with 10. That's your top 10, your playoff spots right now. In the background, trying to fight for the spot to get in, Pittsburgh with 9, Birmingham and Ottawa with 7 each, Loudoun and Memphis with 5 each, Charlotte as well with 5, Swope Park with 2, and Hartford still with a 0.
Wait. Swope Park is at 2?
2 points.
Remember when they were good?
Well, that's what the West will do for you, I guess.
Yeah.
The West, they like to say the West is the best, but I'm really thinking the East is the beast right now. And Swope Park is finding out it's a different world for him. All right, other scores from last weekend. Red Bull 2 dropped a decision to Loudoun, 3-1. Bethlehem Steel lost 3-0 to Indy. Birmingham and Swope Park tied 0-0. Charlotte and North Carolina. Charlotte lost 3-0. Louisville with a 1-0 win over Ottawa. Charleston 3-1 over Nashville, who apparently their fans did not show up for this game tonight either. Guess I don't want to ride that bus. And Pittsburgh 0-0 to St. Louis. And, that's, as far as new team news, that's kind of it. So let's talk a little bit about 200 episodes, Daniel.
Oh, no.
We're going to do a little bit of This Is Your Life.
Oh, no.
By the way, if you are here at Shamrock Pub, and some of you guys are sitting around watching, if you have not gone and signed the giant vinyl going away card at the table behind us for Dan, that's going home with Dan tonight, leave him a nice little message, warm his cold, cold heart. His cold, bitter heart. Dan, 200 episodes. We sat in my my little office area, technically.
Yes.
Beat the crap out of a folding table.
Yes.
We ate some bratwursts and had some beers.
We did.
And I'm glad to say that 200 episodes later, we were able to bring back the bratwurst tonight. Thank you to Derek from Shamrock for grilling them up tonight. The table, the aforementioned table, is right behind us right now with the banner on it.
It is.
So, really, we've made zero progress.
I mean, did you really expect us to?
No. We've gone absolutely nowhere. I've given you equipment that you're now sending back to me. I have to rearrange my office again.
Yeah, it's all yours.
Well,
I'm
luckily
done.
I cleaned up the office last weekend, so.
Like Eminem, I'm cleaning out my closet. That's a dated reference that I'm pretty sure
Wow.
Casey doesn't even get because he's glaring at me.
So 200 episodes, and now you're making old references to things
Yeah.
that are too old for you.
Eminem is not too old for me.
I'd like to think so because I remember it.
I was around.
So Dan, you're still not making any announcements yet, are you?
You're gonna have to wait another week or two before before I announce anything.
But you will pay a visit and discuss,
I will gladly pay a visit and discuss.
even if that ruins the chances of whatever you're doing.
I don't think it shouldn't.
I mean, as long as you don't do it like during a game because the conversation there. Oh, by the way, favorite chant tonight, what was it?
This was my first time hearing the Rowdies LA chant. I don't know how I feel about it.
This is my first time hearing the words. Like I've heard
Yeah,
it, like
yeah.
the melody
Well,
in the stadium.
Yeah, but because I wasn't there, or I was. Why did I miss it last time? I don't remember. But I really like it, and it was cool to hear it for the first time in a little pub on a road game. If I didn't live so far away, I could watch some more games here. The atmosphere was great. But I think the Rowdies, LA, I mean, for many reasons, it's a good cover, and Liverpool is near and dear to my heart.
It was nice to be able to hear that today and feel good and not think about the other context it's used in,
Yeah.
which we didn't feel so good today. Go to hell, Man United.
I mean, I've always felt that way.
Yeah. I thought you were going to go with Sherman burned your town down.
I mean, I am very much here for any kind of William T. Sherman jokes and references. But, I mean, some people have a problem with him. I don't. But,
Like we're literally wrapping up civil. Like I'm going to do Sherman's March on Friday, so I think I dug that one because it's relevant to my life right now. To be historically accurate, I'm not sure how much damage Sherman did to Kennesaw, but anything's possible. You can find out. I think we know people in Kennesaw.
I just wish we had a striker with the last name Sherman that we could send out in these games to like.
That would be fantastic.
Right.
Favorite moment from the game, since there were a lot of firsts, a lot of things we talked about tonight.
You got to go with Tejada's first go. You got to, right? Like, the kid is so likable. He's fun. He's energetic. Scored his first goal.
I love that. I was glad Brandon Allen got one, too. It was a nice header, though.
Yeah, he actually went down. Like,
He got in for that one.
you probably could have used
Keeper
his
got
foot.
a hand on it, yeah.
He probably could have used his foot. But I'll take the effort on dropping down to the grass like that and making that header.
So do we need to go with the new news?
Yeah, I think we should.
All right, so we do have, there's a lot of people down here tonight at the bar. The Skyway Casuals are still here having a few drinks after the win, enjoying good times. We teased on Twitter I did it in true football club fashion, parting of ways, a mutual parting of the ways, mutual consent, which I still say it always feels like we broke up at a Sbarro's at the food court. But then I did tease that we had hired a new co-host on a free transfer. Unfortunately, he could not wait to give it away. Rob Stone did respond. And for you listening, I am proud to confirm. You're not Rob Stone. Ladies and gentlemen, joining me now for the first time as the new co-host of the Unused Substitutes Soccer Show, a name and a face and a voice familiar to probably most of you. How you doing, Stephen Cundiff?
Well, Matt, I am doing fantastic. And, in all fairness, it's not actually my first time of being on this show.
No, you've been on the show, but
if we go back
in the
five,
co-host role.
almost 4 years ago, I was on a couple times actually. So
back in the RowdiesDan days, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, when we were interviewing Tommy Rongen and everything, and I was going by Rowdy Pessimist on Twitter. It was fantastic.
Yes,
Those were
remember
great
that part
times. They were great times. But no, and in all fairness, I am really excited that Matt, you've invited me to take over for Dan. I'm really nervous about this, and I'm going to be honest. And
no, because look, we've done this for 5 years without knowing what the hell we're doing.
But no, let's be real. Let's be real. Dan is an amazing person. He's an amazing personality.
Well,
let's be real.
Yeah, he's good.
And stepping into what he did here for the last several years that's a daunting task. So I'm looking forward to the challenge. I really do think that I can contribute for this, and I think that I provide a bit of a different perspective than what he did for several years, because I've been involved in supporters groups and as far as this area since the beginning, pretty much. So yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see what the perspective that I can bring to the show that maybe differs a little bit than what Dan did and what you bring and what Jake brings on the writing side. And I'm excited. I'm excited about this. Nervous, but very excited.
So when I told Dan that you had finally, after much deliberation, accepted the offer, we were joking around and what it was going to be like, what's going to be the same, what's going to be different. I'm assuming you've watched The Damn United.
Yes.
All right, so we're thinking that the line where Clough introduces himself to the Leeds players for the first time, it's like a bit like a new pair of shoes. It's going to be a little different. It might pinch a little bit, but it'll be good. But so you mentioned your perspective, and now most everybody here, I'm sure, knows who you are. Mm-hmm. But you may be shocked to find out that we do have listeners on pretty much every continent, I think, except Africa, has checked in. We've there's people in England. There's people in France. There's people in Panama now.
Yes.
And in Argentina. There's Australians and New Zealanders. Tell them a little bit about yourself. What's your history with the team? What's your history with being a Rowdy supporter? And then we're gonna dig in some different areas there.
All right. So the funny part about this is that this actually goes back a really long ways. And the reason why I say that is because I am actually a third-generation Pinellas County resident. So, my dad was born in St. Pete. He went to Tampa Bay Rowdies games in the 70s. There's pictures of him there at at Tampa Stadium. I'm born at Bayfront Medical Center myself, so I'm born right there in downtown. I was raised in Pinellas County. So, I went to the Mutiny games back in the day. I went to some Rowdies indoors games back when I was a child, as far as that's concerned. I have been involved in this youth soccer community my entire life. I grew up playing. My little brother grew up playing here. I've followed everything as far as that's concerned. So, for instance, my involvement with the Rowdies themselves, at least the modern incarnation, I did go to a game with the first game, 2010, the very opener at Steinbrenner, and I was not sitting with the mob. I did not know they existed. They were kind of an offshoot of the AO Tampa crew from that time, and we sat sideline, me and my family and the folks that I came with, and I took one look at what they did, and I went, I am forever sitting with or standing with that section for the rest of my life.
Right.
And literally every game since then, that's what I've done. I've been around. It took about 2 years roughly to really get kind of integrated and meet everybody and kind of understand some of the culture of what they do, where they've come from, what songs they sing and why. It took a couple years, honestly, to kind of get to know these people, and I have fallen in love with all of them. You know, I can honestly say that. Like, I really do love every personality that's ever gone through that section. Because people move away, people get families, they move out of town, and I love all of you, you know, as far as, you know, I'm sure many of you are listening. And, you know, it's fun building the culture for this supporters group on both sides of the bay, on, you know, really kind of three sides of the bay when you count Sarasota, because, like, when I kind of did a lot to help, like, AO Sarasota get started, and that kind of ended up becoming the Skyway Casuals after several years. And so it's kind of funny, like, I've had my fingers involved in the supporter culture along the way. But quite frankly, I've been along for the ride, and I just do what I can to try and support people and get people into going.
You've been the midfielder out here pulling the strings on everything.
It kind of feels like it. I mean, for those of you that aren't familiar, I was on the Ralph's Mob board of directors for several years, and I ended up being president the year that we transitioned from the NASL to the USL. I was the president for that transition because our other president, actually, who had moved away, he went to a different state. So, you know, I was the VP, got elected president, and so I was in charge of that. And you want to talk about, like, daunting task of people that with just vitriol hated the idea of bailing on the NASL and going to USL. There are people that still don't go to games to this day because of the transition of that year.
I mean, meanwhile, I'm over here like, can I buy season tickets for 3 more years in
Yeah,
advance?
right?
Because
And it's funny because, like, for instance, this is the 9th season that I've had season tickets. Like, I will always be a ticket holder, and it's because in a lot of ways it's not about the results on the field. I mean, as much as we want to see wins and things like that, for me, it's the club that represents my region of birth. I will forever support that. And that's to me where it's important. And so, you know, as far as that's concerned, yeah, I have been involved. I love everything. I know most people, you know.
I mean, you've actually technically been around the new version of the club at least either longer than Dan and I, because I started coming about midway through that first season.
Yes,
actually. Which is around the same time I think Dan did, and then we still didn't meet for like 2 more years.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you, I've had season tickets ever since that first year. But another thing that Dan mentioned earlier, we were talking about the LA chant, and both of us being Liverpool fans. We no longer have a unified front when it comes to the English team. So
yes.
You
it's
know,
about time.
Yeah,
we need new blood. We need new support.
And honestly, when Dan and I were talking about like who could possibly sit in here and step in and take the spot, I was like, as much as I love this whole like, oh, we love Liverpool thing, like it'd be kind of cool, kind of neat, I think, to have like a butting of the heads.
Yes.
Not as much as possibly some other possibilities could have been. But you've got some other, well, I mean, Rowdies are always our first love, first and foremost.
No, absolutely, positively.
But there are some other teams that we enjoy following along with. Talk a little bit about your other teams. Anyone who follows you on Twitter probably has gotten a lesson in Liga MX. And honestly, I've picked it up a little bit and pay attention to it a lot more now, kind of indirectly because of that. But go into tell us about some of the other teams that you follow besides the Rowdies.
All right. So as far as my non-Rowdy support, one of the first teams that I started supporting several years ago, because my background, my last name is Cundiff, and as far as that's concerned, it's extremely Welsh. And so for me,
is that what it is?
It is. It's Welsh.
Okay.
I mean, city of Cardiff. I'm literally
I know, but there's
two letters away from being that name.
You've got 2 vowels in there, which is like 5 more vowels than any other name or location in Wales.
Nice. Well, so
am I wrong?
No, you're not. But no, as far as that's concerned, I was doing some family lineage and kind of traced it back to Wales, southern Wales, and it kind of ended up being like right in the middle of the 2 cities. And so I was like, well, I'm going to go with Swansea because it, you know, I was reading on the history where they were at the time, because this would have been back right around like 2012, 2011, maybe a little bit before that. And they were in the middle of like this renaissance where like Roberto Martinez and I can't think of the other guy's name. You know, we're transforming that club and creating this really solid identity in the championship. Brandon Rogers was the other guy.
I kind of know that.
I can't believe I forget that. I can't believe I forget that. But
I try to sometimes.
But no, we were in the middle of this renaissance, and watching them and following them, like, while they were in the championship was incredible. Like, seeing how well they were doing, and so I kind of fell in love with it, you know, before they became a Premier League team. And then, of course, when they became the Premier League team, of course, that was like the team everybody was talking about for a little time there
Right.
because they were taking it to everybody. You know, they were not afraid of controlling the ball against Man United, against Liverpool, and it was amazing to watch them go toe-to-toe. And here's this spunky little club from Southern Wales bringing it every game after another. And, of course, it culminated with a league champion, like the League Cup.
Right.
And, you know, that should have been this, like, huge highlight moment for everybody. And we ended up playing Bradford City because of the other side of the bracket was the major upset. And so we ended up beating Bradford City like 5-1, 5-0. And, of course, nobody remembered. Everybody
Right. No one really gives you any credit for it because it's Bradford City.
It doesn't matter. You played Bradford, so
Right.
everybody forgot about it. And then, of course, you know, last season.
Like Bradford's a team you always play a friendly against in FIFA when you first get the new version for the year, so you can get used to the controls.
Exactly. That's pretty much the team I still play with when I'm in FIFA because I'm terrible at FIFA. But, no, I mean, it was so, you know, now they got relegated. They're in the championship right now. They're actually about 5 points out from a playoff spot with 3 games left to play.
Okay, I
so
was
they're
gonna ask about that, 'cause-
probably not going to make it because there's still like 2 or 3 teams in between them
Right,
and
right.
6th. It would take a miracle for them to actually get into the playoffs. But they've had, you know, again, with a lot of these teams that go from Premier League to championship, and a lot of American soccer fans don't experience this. Because a lot of American soccer fans in particular follow just the big 6 teams, and they never have a threat for relegation, let alone actually supporting a team that's been relegated.
Right.
And for me, I'm like, I follow the Rowdies for my full-time job. Like, I mean, come on. Like, I don't care if you're in League One. Like, I don't care how bad the team gets. I'm always going to support
Exactly.
Swansea. And, you know, so it's been interesting watching them. My highlight moment for them is I have seen them live. I did get a chance to see Swansea. Not in Swansea.
Right.
Several years ago, me and a couple friends did a road trip from Tampa to Minneapolis.
Oh, I think I remember this. I remember hearing about this.
We drove straight there, and we watched the Minnesota United Swansea City friendly from 2014. I've got a game day scarf from that. I've got a game day design poster from that. They're hanging up on my wall at the home because that was a highlight trip. I got to meet Leon Britton, and oh my gosh, like just...
That's like my trip a few years ago when I went to Boston and Baltimore and watched Liverpool, and I've got photographs and autographs from Steven Gerrard and Jamie Carragher. And
it's funny because, like, for me, the names for Swansea, it's Leon Britton, Wayne Rutledge,
Right.
Nathan Dyer. Like, those are the legends at the club from that. You know, so it's like most people have never heard of any. You know? And I'm like, I love all of you. But so no, that's my European thing. Now that was the interesting thing that was my European club. Now here's the fun connection. Minnesota ended up selling a player while they were in NASL to a team in Mexico, who happened to also have an American goalkeeper, William Yarborough.
Is this when they sold Ibarra?
Yes.
Okay.
They sold it to Club Leon.
Right.
I started following Club Leon because I was thinking, how cool is it to see a guy that I've shaken hands with. Like, because I had a chance to shake his hand and meet him, like, one Rowdies game.
Right.
He's now playing for a top club in Mexico, which is a step up, especially from NASL at the time.
Oh, yeah.
And I just started picking up and I started watching these games just to kind of see how it goes. And they were brilliant. Like, Mexican soccer is insanity.
Oh,
it is insanity. And I fell in love with it.
Like, I kind of joke around a lot when I'm leaving Rowdies games about, I need to get home. Everyone else is going to go hit Central Avenue or whatever. But honestly, I'm trying to get home to catch the second half of whatever Mexican match is on that night, because I know that if I get the second half at least, there's 3 goals and at least 2 red cards in there.
In 5 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, like, it'll happen in like 5 minutes. Like, all of a sudden, there's going to be this flurry of activity. The ball's going to just go from one end of the field to the other. Goals are going to get scored. Yellow cards are going to be issued. Probably a fight on the field. Like, it's insanity. It is absolutely mental.
It's pinball. It's hilarious.
Oh, it is. But you know what's funny is that we look at that, and it's funny because, like, again, I grew up, you know, in this area. We all watched English Premier League soccer growing up and things like that. And it's so structured. And you go across the border, and it's completely just do whatever you possibly can to score a goal, and there's, like, no structure to it. Most of the time.
Right.
Most of it. It is so much fun. It is so much fun. And then it's funny because, you know what, the more I educated myself on, you know, American soccer and what is the goal of an American soccer club. Most people think win an MLS Cup, and it's like, no, there's 2 other trophies that are important. U.S. Open Cup for one, which you're going to hear me harp on that a lot because I absolutely love the Open Cup. But the other thing's the fact that it's the Champions League. Like, hello, this is an important trophy. When you go to Mexico, there's 80,000 people in a stadium watching the Champions League match. But you go to America and, in the United States, there's probably 10,000 people. Now, granted, Canadians, I'll give them credit. Canada represents really well, and I love watching the games up there. But for some reason, the American soccer audience just doesn't get the Champions League concept. Now, I will say this. I think there's a specific reason for that. It's because MLS has playoffs already. In Europe, you play your regular season games, and you win your trophy based on the standings or whatnot. Your playoffs in Europe are the Champions League. Like, that is the playoff in Europe. So for us, we can't connect to that necessarily as well because we already do a playoff, so the Champions League just feels like it's for fun. But, like, in Mexico, they get what a Champions League really is.
And at the time of the season where it's almost like it's more of a nuisance to the teams than anything else.
Yes, and it's frustrating because, like, I get why that is. So it's hard for me to get, like, upset at the teams for not performing well. What I don't understand is I can't understand how fans don't take it more seriously. And it's so, we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. But, like, we're watching the Monterrey Tigres final right now, and Monterrey won the first game last night, 1-0 at Tigres. Watching that stadium was, it was just jaw-dropping. Like, it's one of the most passionate things in Mexico is watching the Champions League finals, and they were insane. The entire game, they were brilliant, that Tigres crowd. And so again, here I am. This is a Rowdies podcast, and here I am, like, harping on Mexican soccer.
We are the king of tangents. It's okay.
This is true. I will say this: my team Leon, because I ended up adopting them when they signed Ibarra, and they have Yarbrough, and Yarbrough still plays there. So these are a couple of American kids, And of course, Ibarra left for Minnesota or went back to Minnesota for MLS. But it is what it is.
This is why you're a big fan of Leon Taylor, right?
Yeah. But I have to point this out. Leon, right now, has the longest winning streak in Mexican soccer league.
Oh, they had, what is it, like 11
history.
or 12 games or something
12.
like that? 12? Wow.
Unbelievable. Like, we're watching, and most Americans have no idea. Most people around the world have no idea. Leon is literally breaking a record that has stood for 50 years.
Liverpool's on 13 right now. I just point that out.
That's because English Premier League soccer is boring, and there's only like 6 teams that matter, and they always do really well, and then the rest of the league is like, eh.
We do have a listener question.
Oh gosh, this is bad.
It was posted about 15 minutes ago, but you can get some revenge on him at the stadium because you stand very close to him during the games.
Oh no.
Our friend Guillermo.
Oh no.
Would like to know.
Uh-oh.
About the relationship status.
I hate you, Guillermo. I know where you stand at games at Rowdies. I want to point that out, sir. You cannot hide from me. And yeah, I'm still single. I wasn't single for a bit there.
Hey, don't worry.
But I am still single again.
Look, a podcast will change all that. I'm married. Dan's got a girlfriend now. This is your golden ticket, Stephen Cundiff.
Or I'm the one to break the streak. Whichever.
Look, all the other USL podcasters out there can vouch for this. This is how you meet the ladies. Putting a mic in front of your face in a bar on a Wednesday night. Let me tell you. All right, so we're gonna have more to go over in the next few weeks as we figure this out. We put our new relationship together.
Yep.
It sounds like we've just met for the first time. We've known each other for years now.
Oh, I know. It's fun because you and me have chatted, after games for going on 7 years. I was doing the podcast with you guys back in the day. Like I'd come on and do little segments.
Like we practice this stuff in the parking lot basically after the games.
This is true.
What was your overall opinion on the game tonight? Because I know you had some specific opinions about some of the moments of play, but overall,
character building. That's the thing for me tonight. When I'm watching this team, like, we did not play a great game for most of that match. Like, it wasn't. Atlanta controlled the possession of that match for long stretches of that game.
Again, take out John McCarthy. We're down more than 1-0 going into halftime.
Yeah, and it's fair. Again, it's funny because, we weren't necessarily dominated in the context that we were giving up an abhorrent amount of shots. Like, it really wasn't that bad as far as that's concerned. It was just a matter of ball control and getting up the field. Like, we were not able to establish any rhythm at all for most of that match.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it just kind of the floodgates kind of broke through at the end. And I'm like, that's something that the Rowdies in the last several years have not been able to do.
No.
And
especially playing when they're coming from behind too. Like, it's one thing if they get out and score a goal too early.
This broke. There were 3 different things about this game that were interesting. Not only did we do it on the road, we did it late, come from behind, but we also did it with the youngest team ever. We've never had a team this young in our history, in the modern history. What was it? Mike Manganiello pointed out that I think it was like a 24.1 years average age or something like that.
Right.
It's literally the youngest team the Rowdies have ever put on a field for a starting 11.
I mean, a lot of these players look like they could be in my classes and I teach 8th grade.
Yeah, right. But no, I mean, that's, as a Rowdies fan right now, that's kind of scary to think about, the fact that we've never seen anything like this before. And a lot of people have been worried about the transition from, going from these older veteran coaches to somebody that's new. Well, granted, Stewart wasn't necessarily a veteran, but as far as coach. But, going with Neil's approach of going younger in particular, obviously that's the big difference between him and the rest of the coaches we've had, is that Neil specifies youth, and we've never experienced that. So everybody's nervous about the season going into it.
Right.
And here we are so far. It's been pretty good, no losses yet.
Yeah, pulled that one, still unbeaten. And you can look at it and say, well, it's it's Atlanta United too. It's a reserve team. It's one of the few teams to be younger than us. But to come back and to put that pressure on and to keep putting that pressure on even after you're up 2-1, 3-1. It's a good night for the guys. I thought it was a good night for Brandon Allen to get the first goal.
Oh, it was great for him. I felt so happy for him.
For Juan Tejada, who's been fighting to get in every time he gets on the field to get the ball in the net to get what I think is going to be the prototypical Juan Tejada goal of the season. He's just going to poach something in front of the net. He's going to make something happen there, so I was glad to see that work and give him some confidence going into the weekend, coming back here against Charlotte. Overall, I'm happy with how it went tonight. I mean, it was a 4-1 win. It's one thing to come back. These kind of games, we're used to watching this where we go down early, maybe get a goal and back and equalize it, and then there's a couple chances and nothing comes of it, and it finishes 1-1. But then we score another one, and then another one, and then
I will say this.
By the way, Ryan Sudol, stop listening because I don't want to spoil the game for you, but we did win.
Yeah. I will say this, something that's not going to get enough credit as far as this is, at least I don't think it's going to end up getting enough credit in the end. The second goal is made possible by that brilliant dummy. That ball got crossed through the middle, and it was a brilliant dummy that led that ball to go to the far post for the late runner to pick up on. That was brilliant, and that's the kind of flair that we have needed.
Look, we
for
mentioned
years
his
now.
name, and he comes just strolling back into
that's
the
true.
bar.
That was kind of funny. He kind of came up behind me. That was pretty startling, actually. But yeah, no, that's something that that's the little things that this team has lacked for years.
Yeah.
That kind of creativity, that kind of pizzazz. And again, I'm watching this from the perspective of watching Mexican soccer, religiously. That every game is like that. To me, is what soccer's all about. Is that brilliant moment of just random. What did you just do and it worked? What? That's what we need. We need that from our offensive players. You have to have that level of unpredictability.
One of the things I went to one of the trainings earlier this year, and one of the things I felt like that I hadn't necessarily seen before, or at least seen it as that stood out as much as it did, was the attention to detail that Neil and the coaching staff put into different aspects of training. And I think you're starting to see that reflected in the way they play on the fields, which I think is good.
Yeah.
But I want to kind of start to wrap this up because I know you got to get back home. I got to get home, and my wife just texted me a whole list of things I need to do before I go to bed. And taking my daughter with me to work in the morning.
I may be single, but I don't have that problem of having a random message at 10:30 at night.
My daughter's got a brand new bed sitting in the house. If you want to come over and put it together on your way back, because my house is about 10 minutes from here.
In all fairness, did you see the play set that I helped John build this weekend for Easter?
I did see that. It was very nice.
Thank you.
Now, if we can just make that by hand and then put one up, because I can't really afford to buy one of those right now. You're going to be back next week and for the foreseeable future until you abandon me, much like Dan has at some point. However, I am going to put Dan back on the mic right now, and we're going to wrap this up. I got to let him close out the show. He's got to do this one more time. We had some comments on Twitter. I know you saw it, over under on when you were going to start crying, and you've had a couple 11% beers. We had bratwurst like the first time. We had beers like the first time. The table's here. We're back at Shamrock. Has it gotten a little dusty yet, Dan? I thought I saw you wiping away, but then again, it's kind of warm in here, and you could be sweating.
Yeah, it's a little rough. We're in Africa.
Oh, man. Toto is on. Wait, is this the Toto or the Weezer version?
I can't tell, but
Either way, I'm good with it.
it sounds like Toto.
I think it's the Toto one.
Yeah.
So are you gonna bless the rains down in Africa for us tonight?
Are you asking? That's private information, sir. She's sitting right next to me. I can't answer that question.
Are you gonna be able to play the exit music?
Yeah. Oh, we didn't bring that up. That's a good call.
We have this down to a science, ladies and gentlemen. 200 episodes in.
To be fair, I usually open it up halfway through the show when I think about it.
To be fair, you're usually not this intoxicated either.
Yeah, I'm good.
And and also you've never had this much cookie cake during an episode.
Oh, don't play it. Nope. Okay.
All right, Dan, I'm going to turn it over to you to one last time. We're going to do our We Love Yas. Dan, my We Love Ya, as always, forever and ever, is to you. It's been a fun run. It's been 5 years. It's been 200 episodes. It's been a hell of a lot of DMs. It's been some bad jokes. It's been some bad questions asked of coaches and players. It's been a lot of facts misremembered and names mispronounced. It's been a whole lot of unprofessionalism, professional unprofessionals. Dan, who's your We Love You this week?
Everyone, man. I mean, I think I've done this before recently.
You're not getting any pressure from this side of the bar, by the way.
No.
Stare down.
I mean, they don't matter. Not here anyway. But I think 2 weeks ago when we announced this, just you, Jake, Jeff, Stephen, Nico, Mike, the team,
Pat.
Definitely Pat. With too many to name it. Too many. Everybody's listened. Everybody who came out to that home game shook my hand, said thank you. The tweets, the Facebook comments, messages. This is weird. I brought my...
It's one thing if you were, completely moving away or just, not coming...
Right.
Or, we're going into space or something. But, you're still around. It's just, it's more of a see you later.
Yeah. From Garden State. You've seen Garden State.
Oh, God, I've seen Garden State,
It's not a period. It's an ellipsis.
Well, good luck exploring the infinite abyss.
Yeah. We got this.
Wait, does that mean that we can have Natalie Portman on the show? Because I am all about having Natalie Portman on the show.
If Natalie Portman is coming on the show, I'm not leaving.
Look, Stephen's single. We got to get Natalie Portman on the show.
If Natalie Portman's on the show, I'm single too.
What happens at Shamrock goes out on the internet, apparently.
Yeah. I mean, whatever. All right. I love you guys. Look for one last goodbye from me sometime soon. Saturday?
You're not going to be there Saturday.
The bench.
Oh, yeah. Dan's got a little message for everybody in the bench on Saturday. Thank you guys to everyone who's listening. Thank you guys to Shamrock for cooking us some food. A little throwback to the first episode, to hosting us tonight, to everybody here tonight still listening to this for some reason. Seek mental help. Thank you to Wolfface, to Radio St. Pete, and to our sponsor, Roughneck Scarves, your official supplier for MLS, USL, and US Soccer. Scarves, get scarves, custom scarves for your group or team at roughneckscarves.com. Dan, I forgot to tell you, and this is all my fault. I'm sure I'm going to hear about it. We actually have a new advertising setup, and today was supposed to be the first episode where I had a little something to play, and I totally forgot to download it and do it. So, sorry, BGN. I promise you, it'll be in the future episodes. I always forget something when we do a live spot, and this was it for tonight. But I promise it'll be out there. Dan, it's not goodbye.
No, but
it's good night.
But remember, don't break legs. Don't do cocaine.
Stay fresh, cheese bags. send nudes. Dan, I will.
The Rowdies were here, the Rowdies were there, they kicked the wall around.